mwanamuziki mhuduma wa nyimbo za Injili kutoka Nigeria, Steve Crown tayari yupo studioni na ndaweza kumkaribisha. Kwa hivyo utasikia Ben leo amezungumza Kiingereza. Welcome to Kenya, Steve Crown.
Asante sana.
And today you are in the program. We just want to know you, your journey in music, especially in the ministry of gospel music. As we start, who is Steve Crown?
Steve Crown is a gospel music minister from Nigeria. I think that's all I can say at the moment. So except maybe any other question comes, it's as simple as that.
And Steve Crown, is he married? Is he saved?
He's saved.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
not married.
He's not married.
Yes.
Wow. And what got you into music, especially gospel music?
Okay. I had an encounter, so it's a calling for me. It's not more like trying to carve a niche for myself. It is not. It is a calling. I had an encounter, and ever since after that encounter, my life never remained the same. I kept on, seeing visions, and God keeps, showing me a mammoth of crowd, and I in the midst of it. Ministering to them, and the presence of God powerfully, touching the lives of people, healings taking place, wheelchairs, carried around to show that God has healed people, people standing up from wheelchairs, people throwing their crutches, and different deadly ailments being healed only by the sounds that God, has released through me. And that is how my journey began.
And before the visions, how did it start before the vision, so that you can take this ministry serious? Okay,
well, I've always wanted to be a lawyer. I've always wanted to go international, but based on I'm talking about like career-wise. So one of my dreams was to be someone that works with the United Nations, because I love peacekeeping. I just like to see that people live in peace, and so that was it for me. But as time goes on, generally my lifestyle, I was born into a family that sing. My father sings, my mom too.
Wow.
But they did it more in the church. And their impact was really heavy, because when they get to any choir, because of the gift they have, they were really identified. And so growing from that family, the whole thing just flew, easily. And then I caught the fire too. And we just normally sing sometimes. Most times we do our morning devotions. We do morning devotions and we just sing worship songs, and everybody's singing parts. We're just so little that time. And then you hear the neighbors each time when it's morning, they want to hear us sing.
Wow.
So, and it's been an amazing journey till at some point we were just tender age. We still go for crusades. We couldn't stand to sing for people to see us, so because of the mic stands, so most times they just carry us, the three of us, and there were about 3 or 4 of us. They carry us up so people can see the people that are singing, because we're very small. And then we sing. So it's been fulfillment. And then so to cut the long story short, like I said, I've always wanted to be a lawyer, but God tore my script and he gave me something else. And ever since, my life has never remained the same. If you ask me if actually I prefer to be a lawyer or actually go work for United Nations, I think this is the best thing that has ever happened to me, working with God. And so how it happened was we had a fasting and prayer program. I had my challenges while I was growing up. And so we went for the program. That was the grand finale in my church. And we had my youth president and the choir leader were all there. And so after the program, everybody left. And then I'm just trying to tell you how this whole thing started, how the vision came, and then, I saw myself in a trance. So when everybody left, of course I didn't have transport money to go back home because I had challenges. Most times I had to trek distances to get to church. It was all passion for me. It's not like I was looking for how I was going to, be a singer or probably a music minister that would be known out there. I just wanted to be in the choir, just like it's been a discipline from my parents, all of us. My dad led me to Christ at the age of 9. I can still remember. So it's been a lifestyle for us. I just wanted to be there, enjoy God's presence, and listen to the word of God from my pastor, and then also be under leadership from my choir director. So, and that was it for me. I was not always in the front line, so nobody would have actually foreseen the aspect of me getting to this level that I am. So now that coming back to that program we had, everybody left after the program, so I didn't have transport to go back. The choir director was there, and the president too. That's the youth president was around. So they actually planned to pray. I didn't plan to pray because I just wanted to go home and break the fast because I was hungry this time around. So So and then after everybody left, the both of them went to the altar and they started praying. And usually I would wait for the church secretary to give me some transport because I had some little, challenges, and so I would go to him. And this time around he left. I was so upset, and
so I felt in the church.
He left
fare,
in the church. I didn't have transport money to go back, and this time around it was so late in the night because the program was in the evening. So the program closed around 9:30, 10, and then the man just I don't know what happened, he left. I was not happy. In fact, sincerely, I was upset with God too, because I was like, I'm going through a lot, and that's enough. So for me to even have the transport money to go back, because I came here just sacrificing to serve God, and this time around this happened to me, I was not happy. And then the choir director and the youth president went to pray at the altar. So they just went kneel down there to pray. And then as they were praying, I was sitting down waiting, and I had nothing to do. And then I slept off because the hunger was too much. And then at some point, some minutes to 12, the prayer was so much, and then it woke me up, and plus the hunger. Of course, a hungry man is an angry man. I was upset that this happened, and then I just had a whisper, like, you are supposed to be praying. These two people that are praying, they are much better than you in a way, because you have bigger challenges than these people, and you are here sleeping. Why are you sleeping? So, and I'm like, well, I don't care. And then a part of me was like, okay, why not just try and just pray?
You're still angry.
Yeah, I was upset, and I was hungry, and that was after 12. The prayer was on. They were still praying loud, and then they planned to pray together like a chain prayer. So I was not part of it. So I just decided to, okay, fine. Reluctantly, I just went to the altar, knelt down, and then I tried to pray. So normally, most times, we sit that when we want to pray, we just raise some worship songs just to charge the atmosphere and all that. And then I raised one song. It's just a 2-line song. The rest is history. That 2-line song I raised, I started singing, and I couldn't stop. I tried to stop, I couldn't. I kept on singing that 2-line song continuously.
Can you remember the 2-line song?
It's not something that I've been instructed to share with the world. So wow. It's something God just dropped that song in me, and I was just singing it. And it's just a 2-line song, so simple. And so the presence of God was so strong, I couldn't, I was in my own power trying to stop singing. I couldn't. 1 hour passed, I was still singing 2-line song, and I was trying to understand what God was trying to pass to me as a message, but I couldn't. And then continuously I was still singing, and then the presence of God was so strong I started crying. And then 2 hours, continue singing. 3 hours, it was still happening. Yes, the same 2-line songs. That is how my trance started. And I was still singing, I was crying, I couldn't even, in fact, the tears was so much and it even dried up, and I was still crying, and I was enjoying his presence. I can't explain how I felt. Then as I was still singing, all I can remember, because this happened till around some minutes after 6, and then when I was able to gain consciousness, I saw 2 those two guys, that's the president and the choir director, they sat just at a distance on a chair, and they were like, I hope you're fine. I said, I'm good. And I stood up and I tried to approach, and they're like, no, stay away. I'm like, what's happening? So they're like, do you know what happened to you? I said, I don't know. They're like, do you know you've been singing since around 12 a.m. until almost 6, and you've been singing 2-line songs, and you've been crying, and we were just wondering what's happening, and it was so loud, and of course I didn't know what was happening. And sincerely speaking, I telling you this now from my own point of view, what happened to me was that I actually felt this was happening to me just in a short time, because the trance I went through during that time when this happened was I saw myself in a mammoth of crowd, and then I was wearing white. That's the reason why most times people ask, why is he always on white?
I was to ask.
That white is a covenant with God. And then I saw myself. Now that mammoth of crowd, there was no end. It was more than a stadium, because it's just like when you see crowd, you're trying to look for the end, you can't see it from the left, back, right, center, everywhere. And then I could only see people throwing their crutches, some people dropping their wheelchairs, some people with placards and like, oh, God healed me of a terminal disease and all that. And then we're giving God glory. And then in that trance, I only saw that I noticed that we just finished singing a song. But the keyboardist happened to be an angel. Yes. And that was the one leading. But I was supposed to sing the next song because the keyboardist was playing, because the whole instrumentalist and the backups were all angels. So they were playing. I was supposed to sing the next song because the tone was there, but I did not know the lyrics. And I tried to, but I didn't know the lyrics. And then that is how I came out of that trance, and that was around after 6 when those guys were like, please don't approach us, what's going on with you? And I'm like, everything is fine, what happened? They said they stopped their prayer and they started praying for me because they felt I was going through so much. And then they noticed that their prayer, they were even tired, that they had to go and sit down and rest. And this is me now, this is the time I'm able to stop what I'm doing. What happened to me? I said, well, I'm fine. And since that time, I noticed that when I sleep, I see myself in that same atmosphere. Because this thing that happened to me, normally I'm supposed to be fatigued, tired, because normally I used to be tired when it comes to music administration on stage. But since that trance, I could be on the stage for over 2 hours. 3 hours, and I will not be tired, with so much energy, praising and worshiping and leading the people. That energy is not a carnal energy. It comes from the Most High. So that is how my journey started. Yeah.
And talking about your music, how will you describe the music that you typically create?
I don't create music. I receive sounds.
Wow. That's why the song "The Angel Are Singing."
I don't create music. I receive sounds, and when it comes, there are some of the songs that I've been able to do. It took me time to be able to put them, because I have not successfully sat down to say, okay, I want to write a song. Like, you know how a music minister can just sit down and say, okay, let's write a song. It hasn't worked for me, sincerely. I only receive sounds, and then I have to wait for God to give me the message that sound comes with before I release it. Else, I will keep struggling.
Wow. Steve Crown, your music, it's all about worshiping God
and praising God. My songs are centered on God's glory than what He should do for man.
Can you explain being centered on God's glory?
If you listen to most of the songs that I've released, you will hardly hear things like, Father, I need your healing, I need your touch, and stuff like that. It's more of talking about the greatness of God, His majesty, worshiping and adoring Him, giving Him the glory, and not requesting for anything. Maybe because I have a lot of songs, I think a couple of them. Maybe I have a song that has to do with request. I'm not sure, but I don't think I have released any song that has to do with Father. I'm going through this. Can you come and heal me? No. Or I'm going through this. Can you come and do this? Because the way God trained me in ministry is that all the glory belongs to him. When you give the glory to him, he draws all men to himself. He does what you cannot do for yourself. The reason why we are here on earth, the reason why God created us is for his glory. Everything that we need has already been provided. Yes, he said, ask and it shall be given. Now, that ask it shall be given doesn't mean it's not there. It's already there. It's just for you to understand the principles of receiving. And the best principle of receiving is giving him the glory.
Wow. Let us take a break. And before we take a break, can you share a little bit about this song, You Are Yahweh?
You Are Yahweh.
Yeah.
That song. So I remember after we released our first album, and those music went viral, and people began to talk. This guy must be enjoying himself. This guy must be an American. In fact, can't you hear how he's singing? His song is viral. I was going through a lot that period. Actually, normally when songs go out there and people begin to sing it in different countries, different tongues, nations, and what people expect is this person should be doing well. He should be cashing out. He should have a lot of endorsement deals. You know, I was living in debt.
Wow.
Yes, I was going through a lot. In fact, what happened that day, I was in church, and then after service, I didn't have transport to go back home. These songs were out there.
Again.
Yes. And then I got into the bus, and this, I believe in Kenya, you have some of these buses where people sit down and then you still stand.
Matatus.
They call it matatus, right? Okay, good. So, if you don't have enough money, you stand. You hang on that what they call that stuff. The rail.
The rail, yeah.
Well, the people that they probably are able to pay, they sit on the seat, or probably the ones that were able to get in on time get a seat. So I was standing, and then to actually make me frustrated, the devil. Well, to the glory of God, yes. My songs began to play in that bus, and people were enjoying it, and we're talking about how the presence of God is hitting them right in that bus. It's a very big bus, and guess what? They were now talking. They're like, this guy, he's anointed, he's blessed,
and you are there standing,
and I was just there. Nobody knew me. I was hearing this song playing. Nobody knew me. I was just there. And I didn't even have transport that day. It was an all night. So I left very early in the morning, around some minutes after 8 or so, because I was going back home in the morning. So there was this little girl that also joined. She was going to school. So she was the one that paid my transport. Because the bus conductor almost got into an argument with me. And he wanted to embarrass me.
And the music was still playing.
And the music was playing. So it's more like the devil was like, you choose to serve God. Because I had choices. Before I even released my work, after that trance, I had choices. And I asked my parents, what do I do? My parents just, and that's why it's good. You see, the Bible says, train a child in the way that he should grow. And that is what my parents did. They gave me that training, and they gave me Jesus. My dad led me to Christ at 9. So, and when it was time for me to make up my mind which music should I do, because I had offers to do secular and I had offers to do gospel, and I had to choose. My parents gave me the liberty to choose. And you know what that means. So that means I could choose to do the secular, which is the fastest, means,
for sure,
or whatever that can give me whatever. And then, but I went for the gospel, and look at what God is doing today. My life is a testimony.
Wow. Wacha nikupe wimbo, wacha nibadilishe lugha kidogo, tumeongea Kiingereza. Msikilizaji, niko na Steve Crown studioni, na ambaye tunamfahamu. Umeelewa safari yake ya muziki. Muziki wake unachezwa katika matatu ambao wako ndani, na wakati huo ana atafea.
So that particular song, I had to come down from the bus. I still had to trek a little distance because that was not the place where my house is. And when I got down, it dawned on me that I was really, really going through a lot. And I began to cry. And that's how it came.
That's how this song came.
While I was walking and trekking back home.
Bila shaka msikilizaji, ni muziki ambaye ni mhuduma wa nyimbo za injili ambaye niko naye studioni kutoka Nigeria, Steve Crown, na pale ameweza kukuelezea safari yake jinsi ilivyoanza.